Media reports surfaced over the weekend that the Big 12 Conference is now talking to Fresno State as a potential expansion candidate. We'll pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and we're going to talk about it. What is up, college sports fans, Big 12 fans, and fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Couz. Welcome into another edition of Couz's Corner. So pull that chair up and let me serve you up this shot of top-shelf college football content. On tap in today's episode, we're once again talking about conference expansion, conference realignment, and now we're focusing on the Big 12 and Commissioner Brett Yormark's desire to expand. Well, in that desire to expand, he has acknowledged multiple times he wants that Pacific time zone. Well, is Fresno State, who is in the Pacific time zone, are they the next potential addition to the conference? Well, according to media reports, yes. So what I want to do first off is introduce you to this report that I'm talking about, or at least one of the reports. There are several outlets talking about it, but the one I'm going to share with you today in this episode is one from the Fresno Bee. And here's what the article states. Fresno State continues to push Big 12 expansion. University president involved in talks. Fresno State continues to push its expansion prospects with the Big 12 with an ongoing dialogue that includes conversations between athletics director Terry Toomey and conference officials, and what an industry source said was a lengthy sit-down between University President Saul Jimenez Sandoval and Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark. Toomey, who is in Arizona for the Bulldogs baseball opening weekend at the MLB Desert Invitational, declined to comment Friday on any discussions between the university and the Big 12. But Yormark has made no secret the Big 12 is targeting the late-night TV slots on the West Coast during football season, and a conference that spans coast to coast, which puts Fresno State in play in a next round of expansion. Of course, it goes on to talk here about the Pac-12 being a wild card because they could potentially be talking to Fresno State too, and they are getting real close to their media deal, and they may need to expand in order to get a new media deal. But here it says, but even if the Pac-12 sticks together, the value remains for the Big 12 in the 7 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. windows. And according to a quote here by former Fox Sports executive Bob Thompson, former president, actually, of Fox Sports Bob Thompson, he says this, and I quote, I think the 7:30 p.m. Pacific window is of enough value for the Big 12 to go after a non-Power 5 school to be able to consistently play in the window. The cable sports networks like to have games in that window. Not as much competition at that time as well. At most, you have a Pac-12 game and maybe a Mountain West game in that window on a consistent basis. If the Big 12 wants to be truly national in scope, it's going to need to have some schools from the Pacific time zone. End quote. Now, it goes on down here to give some advantages that Fresno State officials have touted to help get Fresno State into the league, reasons they say they deserve to be in a Power 5 conference. Number one, it talks about their television markets. It includes Fresno, which is the number 55 largest market in the country. Bakersfield is the number 125 in the country. But most importantly, it has the Sacramento and Stockton markets, which is the number 20th ranked TV market in the country as far as size goes. So some pretty decent markets there to get in, especially that number 20 market in Sacramento. It also goes on to talk here about how they were the first team in history to start the season 1-4 and finish 10-4. Played in front of an average of 39,067 people at Valley Children's Stadium last season, which was the third highest average attendance among Group of 5 conference programs and the highest at Fresno State since it averaged 39,306 in 2005. Says the Bulldogs finished the season ranked in the Associated Press Top 25 for only the fourth time in program history and won a second Mountain West Conference championship in 4 seasons under Coach Jeff Tedford. We all remember Jeff Tedford. He used to coach at Cal. Coached Cal to some of their most impressive seasons in school history. Very successful school or very successful tenure there at Cal, which is at the Power 5 level. So it goes on to say when it won its first in 2018, it averaged only 31,503 people per game. Talking about attendance there at what then was known as Bulldog Stadium. Their 5-year average attendance is up 28%, one of the highest in all the Group of 5, 6th highest in the nation. Fresno State is targeting a renovation to the aging Valley Children's Stadium, so that will help. I'm not sure if there are any plans to expand the stadium as far as seating capacity or anything like that, but they are planning upgrades there. So that might play a role in the Big 12 being interested. Really interesting tidbits there about Fresno State and their potential to join the Big 12. Now, what I did next, what I want to share with you now is I put together a spreadsheet that shows Fresno State and compares them to current Big 12 teams and how they would stack up in the Big 12 now. You guys recall I did this back in 2021 when there was a lot of conference expansion talks going on, and you guys seem to really like it. So I decided to do it with Fresno State. So let's look right now. And I got this information, by the way, from Tony Altamore. Most of you probably know Tony. He's been on my show before, been on several other college football shows as well. He really does a lot around conference realignment. He puts together a lot of graphs and charts and information regarding conference realignment, fan base sizes, you know, uh, academic data, things like that. Well, I took Tony's information and compiled it into this spreadsheet. The 5 categories I looked at were average academic rank, money spent on research, average TV viewers per week, average fan base size, and then football 5-year rank. Now, if you look at Fresno State compared to the rest of the Big 12, their average academic rank, when you take the average of U.S. News and World Report and the Wall Street Journal, their average is 275. Average in the Big 12 is 217. So it looks like they don't fit. However, there are some teams in the Big 12 that would rank worse than Fresno State. Fresno State would actually be 10th. If Fresno State came in as the only member, there'd be 13 teams. They would be 10th in the league. They would be ahead of West Virginia, Texas Tech, and Kansas State in average academic ranking. Now, when you go to money spent on research, now research has not really been anything I've talked about much on here, but the Pac-12 has been talking about research a lot on Twitter and why some of their schools don't want to go to the Big 12. So I thought, hey, I'll throw research on here too. Fresno State only spends $5.2 million on research compared to $156 million is your average in the Big 12. Fresno State would be dead last in the conference in amount spent on research, but TCU only spends just under $7 million a year on research, so they don't spend that much more. So I don't think that would be a deal breaker for the Big 12 because I don't think the Big 12 puts as much emphasis on those kinds of things as somebody like the Pac-12 or the Big 10 or maybe even the ACC. And when you look at average TV viewers per week, Fresno State brings in about 100,000 viewers per week, much lower than the 875,000 that Big 12 schools bring in, and they would be dead last in that category. But keep in mind, if they get into a Power 5 conference, they're going to be playing better competition. That's automatically going to draw a lot more eyeballs to the screen. So that will make that number go up. However, they are way behind all the other schools in the league by at least a couple 100,000 viewers a week. When you look at average fan base size rank, they're 62nd in the country. Actually, higher than I thought they would be. I thought they would be ranked much worse than that. Big 12's average is 55th. And when you look at average fan base size rank, Fresno State would be 10th in the Big 12, ahead of Baylor, Cincinnati, and Houston. I was surprised to see Baylor there that low, but Baylor's fan base is not ranked really, really high in size. Their fans are very passionate. There's just not a lot of them. And when you look at when you look at football 5-year rank, and when you look at football 5-year rank, Fresno State is at 70th. Average in the Big 12 is 56. Fresno State would be 9th in the Big 12 in football 5-year ranking, ahead of Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Iowa State, and Kansas. Now, this includes more than just on-field performance, folks. Football 5-year ranking includes the overall health of the football program over the course of the last 5 years. And, of course, this data went through 2021, did not include 2022 numbers. Now, some other things I looked at, didn't really do comparisons necessarily as far as putting it on a spreadsheet, but I looked at their, how many fans go to games, how big is their stadium, and then where do they rank as far as population? What's the population look like in and around Fresno? Well, when you look at average attendance per game, they're averaging about 30,000 fans per game over the last 5 years. That would be next to last in the Big 12, just ahead of Kansas. But keep in mind, Kansas's numbers are going to go up if they keep winning games. Kansas is only so low because they've been bad for so long, fans just stopped going. That's going to increase if they keep winning games, as I'm sure it did in 2022. But there again, Fresno State's numbers could also improve if they get into a Power 5 conference. Fans will be more interested, especially the first few years when they're new to the league. You look at the stadium capacity. Their stadium capacity is about 40,700. That's right in line with new Big 12 members, Houston and Cincinnati. So I'm not sure if that would be a deal breaker or not either. I don't think that would be a big deal. If it's good enough to let Cincinnati and Houston in, then it may be good enough to let Fresno in. And then last thing I want to talk about is their population. There's about 1.2 million people within a 50-mile radius of the campus, Fresno State campus. That would be good for 7th in the Big 12. So, it'd be about middle of the pack, basically, in the league as far as 50-mile radius population. So, after seeing those numbers, do you think, Couz's Corner family, that Fresno State would be a good addition to the Big 12? My personal opinion, I do not. And no disrespect to Fresno State, I just don't think they're there yet. I think they need a few more years to get their stadium up to par. They've already started the renovations there. I think they need to get that completed. I just don't think their TV viewer numbers are strong enough right now to be a solid addition to the Big 12. I just think it would be dilutive to the league. I don't think Fresno State would bring enough money, additional money to the league, if any at all, actually, to make them worthwhile in expansion. Now, if you remember, I've talked about this on my channel before. The pro rata clause that the Big 12 got as part of their new TV deal, number one, it's only from ESPN share, not from Fox's so far. And it only covers Power 5 schools only. There is no pro rata clause, at least not that I can see, or not that I've heard about, in the Big 12's contract for G5 expansion. Who's going to pay for it? The only thing I could see is maybe if getting into that fourth time zone makes Fox want to come back to the negotiation table, or two, maybe it allows them to bring in a third party like an Amazon or an Apple TV, somebody like that, to be a third party in this TV deal to help cover the cost as well. Those are really the only two scenarios I could see where it would make any sense. But hey, I trust Brett Yormark. He may have something up his sleeve. But personally, as a West Virginia fan, our team traveling to Fresno State to play games just does not excite me in the least. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I really don't see the benefit in the Big 12 adding any more Group of 5 schools. I feel like we got the best ones that were available in UCF, Houston, Cincinnati, and BYU. If you want to consider BYU Group of 5, I think we got the best ones that were available. I think we need to stop there with Group of 5. If we're going to expand anymore, in my opinion, it needs to be only with Power 5 schools. That's just my opinion on that. You let me know in the comments what you think. Do you agree or disagree with that? If you're a Fresno State fan, would you be excited to get into the Big 12, or would you rather see Fresno State get into the Pac-12? I want to hear your thoughts there. If you're a fan of a Big 12 team, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section as well. Guys, please support my channel financially if you have the means to do so. You can check out my merch store, get you a hoodie, ball cap, a mouse pad, a coffee mug, a T-shirt, all kinds of different items over there, a few different designs to choose from as well. Hit the link at the top of my description box. You can check out the Fanatics link, get to do your Fanatics shopping, and I'll make a small commission. You don't have to buy the item shown, by the way. It just gets you into the site. You can hit the heart thanks button right below, make a one-time donation to my channel. You can become a member of my channel and take advantage of the perks that has to offer. Also, if you want to support me absolutely free, you can hit the like button, which is the thumbs up button right below. Drop that comment, share it out with your friends and family. And last but not least, subscribe to my channel, please, if you haven't. I'm trying to get to 5,000 subscribers as soon as possible. I need your help to do it. So please subscribe, have your friends and family subscribe, because if they like Big 12 football, especially West Virginia Mountaineer football, they need to be right here and subscribe to Couz's Corner. Well, with that being said, I really appreciate the support. I appreciate you tuning in to this episode. And until the next one, Q Country Roads.